Welcome to our first New Moon Talk in English. The topic today will be menopause, mastering menopause with Ayurveda. Thank you all for coming. I would like to welcome our guest speaker today, which is Dr. Upasana Sharma. A very warm welcome. Hello. I would like to introduce Dr. Upasana shortly. She's an Ayurvedic doctor with specialization in gynecology and obstetrics, which is Geburtshilfe in German, because I didn't know myself. She has studied Ayurveda at the National Institute of Ayurveda in India, and she has done her graduation and post-graduation in the field of Ayurveda for 9 years. 3 years of which she dedicated to the field of gynecology and obstetrics during her master's. She has published 7 peer-reviewed scientific papers on dysmenorrhea, which was her master thesis, and she participated in more than 18 national and international conferences and seminars. Upasana is also a certified yoga teacher and evaluator from the Yoga Certification Board in India. She has clinical experience of practicing gynecology and teaching for more than 7 years. And so her main expertise today is women's health through Ayurveda, from the puberty to menopause, healthy pregnancy, as well as healthy menopause. So I'm very happy that you share your knowledge today with us.
Oh my God, this is too much.
So that's what you did.
Thank you very much, Ursula, for having me here today. And it is really a pleasure to be here on this platform and sharing whatever knowledge I have. I would also like to welcome all the participants who are joining us here today. As you said it earlier, and as planned, this New Moon Talk, we will be discussing about menopause and how Ayurveda helps in relieving the symptoms which appears around menopause. And we will be discussing about some key symptoms which appear around menopause, what is menopause, what is perimenopause, some important terminologies, and what symptoms are having, and what is the treatment for, or I should say, what is the management according to Ayurveda for those symptoms. The first thing is, what is menopause? So menopause is nothing but a natural consequence of the natural biological aging process, and it is basically 2 words are there. One is meno and second is pause. So meno referred to menses and pause referred to the stop. So menopause is permanent cessation of menstruation at the end of reproductive life. So what happens basically? During the reproductive age group, ovaries, they produce eggs, and along with eggs or follicles, they also produce sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone. These estrogen and progesterone, they are not only having like effect on maintaining a healthy and normal menstruation and fertility, but also they are having a very prominent impact on all other bodily functions, like skin, bone, cardiovascular health, and everything. So when this production of egg stops, these hormones, they are decreased in level in our blood levels. So there are some symptoms. And these symptoms, when they are more pronounced, and we collectively call them menopausal syndrome. Okay. So this is the basic outline about what menopause is. If we look at a female's lifespan, we can divide it into 3 parts. Broadly, we can divide it into 3 parts. And we also say it like the transition of a woman's life. The first transition is menarche, when the first menstruation happens. The second transition is during the reproductive age, while pregnancy, lactation, and lot is happening. And the third transition is menopause, when the last menstruation is happening. What is happening nowadays, due to increased life expectancy, we see that in past decades we experience this thing and we see this thing that the average age of females, the longevity is there. So females are spending about 1/3 of their life in this menopausal period. Okay. Now, the question is, when does menopause start? So there are two terms. One is normal menopause and second is abnormal menopause. So first we talk about the normal menopause. So the normal menopause can start anytime between 45 to 55 year of age, with a mean or average age of 50 years. And it is a natural biological aging phenomena. Ayurveda also says, like in Ayurveda, it is mentioned the age of menopause is 50 years. Now we talk about the abnormal menopause. So abnormal menopause, it can be in form of premature menopause, like we are seeing nowadays quite often, that premature menopause is when menopause happens before the age of 40 years. Late menopause, when menstruation continues even after the 55 year of age. And medical and surgical menopause, when due to some medical condition, if hysterectomy is done, that means removal of uterus is done, and like chemotherapy or radiotherapy, some sort of treatment is happening in a female body, and due to that, menstruation stops. So these are the form of abnormal menopause. Now, the big question, how to detect the phase of going into menopause. So before jumping to this thing, we should know about certain terminologies related to menopause. So menopause is a condition and it is always diagnosed retrospectively, which means it is not like puberty. When a female is having periods and we call it menarche. Okay, this is menarche. It is different in case of menopause. So when a female has menses, the last menstruation or the final menstruation, after that she will not have menstruation for 12 consecutive months or 1 year. Then after 1 year, we will say, okay, it was menopause. So this is said the retrospective, that we are going back into time and saying, okay, it was the final menstrual period. Okay, so it is a retrospective diagnosis, first thing. Second important terminology is climacteric, which is again related to transition from a reproductive age to non-reproductive age. So this shift, it can be 5 to 10 years on either side of menopause. As we can clearly see in this picture that, okay, we understand about premenopause, before menopause clearly, post-menopause, after menopause, it is also clear. But this term, this perimenopause term, it is a quite ill-defined term because it can vary 5 to 10 to 15 years. And it is the time basically when the menstrual cycle, it starts to become irregular. Like when a female is attaining menopause, before that, the menstrual cycle will start to become irregular. We will talk about this in later slides. Now, what are the common changes occurring in a female body when menstrual cycle stops? These symptoms or these changes, first we are talking about the changes. So they can be physical, or they are physical and psychological or mental at the same time. So as I discussed earlier, that ovaries stop producing the sex hormone, estrogen and progesterone. And these sex hormones are having a huge impact on all the bodily systems of a female body. Okay. And it is also having impact on the organs. So when this estrogen and progesterone hormone will be less in quantity in blood, what will happen? There will be atrophic changes. So what is atrophic changes? So in general terms, like the ovaries, they will shrink in size. The uterus, so the lining of uterus or the endometrium, it will be thinning. There will be thinning of that lining. The vaginal lining will be also thinned out. Okay, the muscle tone will be lost because estrogen maintains that muscle tone during the reproductive age. The bone metabolism will be disturbed. There will be more catabolic activity, which means there will be more decaying and the bone will become porous later on, which is a state we call it osteoporosis. There will be cardiovascular changes. There will be changes in skin, like appearance of wrinkles, appearance of pigmentation sometimes. So these kind of changes will be there in the female body. And the change which is more pronounced in terms of hot flashes, that are the vasomotor symptoms. We will talk about that later. So these are some key changes or some important changes which are happening in a female body. And why this is happening? Because there is less amount of estrogen. So now we come to the Ayurveda point of view about menopause. In Ayurveda, we call menopause Rajo Nivrati. So in Rajo Nivrati, there are two words again. The first word is Raj and the second word is Nivrati. Raj means egg, menstrual blood, and sex hormones. So it is an umbrella term and it is covering all the aspects. Okay. And Nivrati means finished or completed. So again, it is having the same meaning, which is when menstrual blood is finished, when sex hormones are finished or ending. So it is again saying the same term, which is cessation of menstruation. But the beautiful explanation here, which is in Ayurveda, is why this Rajo Nivrati or menopause is happening. Because I will talk about this later also, it will help a female to prepare herself psychologically. Okay, so the first explanation Ayurveda gives about menopause is swabhav, that it is not technically a disease, it is only a simple transition. And why it is happening? It is due to swabhav, the nature of aging or a consequence of aging. So it will happen. And so the Ayurveda is basically prepare a female by saying this, that it is about to come. So we should be like ready for this and we should be preparing ourselves for this. And we should be, I should say, celebrating this thing. Okay. So this is a very good word, which is swabhav. It is a natural occurrence. The second cause is kal or time. So there is a particular time in life when this thing will happen. So again, it is having a very positive impact and positive message, I should say. And the third reason behind menopause or Rajonivrati is Vata dosha. So in Ayurveda, there are three doshas. And the important thing is during different stages of life, like in childhood, when there is growth is happening, more of anabolism is happening. So there is predominance of kapha dosha. During the middle age, when a lot of transformations are happening in our body, that is the phase which is basically governed by pitta dosha. All other doshas are also present at that time, but the predominance is of pitta dosha. In the same way, when Vata dosha is in predominance, there are more degenerative changes. And as a result of this natural, biological aging or degeneration, there is appearance of Rajo Nivrati or menopause. So we understand that menopause is a Vataja stage of life. Here comes another beautiful explanation about menopause in Ayurveda. So, okay, it is a Vataj predominance. Yes. So there should be changes, only degenerative changes. Why there is symptoms like hot flushes and irritability to heat and symptoms like that. So, as I said, youth or the middle age, it is predominated by Pitta dosha, and menopause is predominated by Vata dosha. So the perimenopausal period is between the Pitta dosha and the Vata dosha. So that perimenopausal period, a female will have symptoms related to Vata and Pitta. And these are the transitionary symptoms a female is experiencing. And it is not like menopause is happening now only. It used to be in previous times also. So why this transition is becoming so much discomfortful nowadays? So it is again due to the vata vitiation only. And why it is happening, or why these symptoms are so much pronounced nowadays. So in present world, we see that the lifestyle is overstressed, it is fast, it is mechanical, and it is overtiring and overstressing. And due to that, the old saying or the Ayurveda saying is, because we know it is a Vataja stage, so we should be like respecting this, and we should be keeping ourselves prepared for this. But in practical, we don't see that. It is not like we are, okay, we are taking a pause, okay, it needs to be addressed properly. It is not happening. And that is why the symptoms are more pronounced nowadays. At the same time, it is a natural decaying process. Again, we are not taking care of that properly. And that's why symptoms are becoming more pronounced. With aging, the digestive fire, it also decreases for some extent. And when the digestive fire is not functioning properly, it will not be able to digest the food properly, and that will cause undigested food. In Ayurveda, we call it ama or the metabolic toxins. And these ama or metabolic toxins will also increase the imbalance of Vata dosha. And Vata dosha is, I should say, the most powerful dosha in all three doshas. It is said that it is the governing force. So when this Vata is vitiated, or this Vata is imbalanced, it will cause a lot of structural and functional disturbances in a female body. What are the common symptoms during menopause? So during menopause, it is not about the menopausal symptom. I should say they start with in the perimenopausal period only. When so the first symptom will be irregular periods or irregular menstruation, because it is starting from there. And it is not like ovaries will, like one day you wake up and ovaries will stop producing eggs or stop producing follicles. It is a process. So it starts with depletion and resistance of follicles. So during that period, different female experience different kind of irregularities in their menstruation. Like some females, they can experience that they are having huge or profuse bleeding. That means they are having heavy menses or heavy periods. Some may experience very scanty menses, like very less bleeding. Sometimes some female may experience that the duration of that period is shortened. Like it is happening in every 15 to 20 days around menopause. And some females experience like delayed menses, which means menses is coming in 2-3 months. So these kind of irregularities can happen around menopause. And I'm saying it again, we are talking about the normal menopause. So around the age of 45 or any time between 45 to 55, a female can experience these kind of symptoms. Along with this menstrual irregularities, there will be changes or there will be symptoms, as we discussed earlier, that there are changes in organs. And those changes, they will result in some symptoms. Like when a female talk to us or when a patient come to me, she will not tell me the changes in her organs. She will tell me the symptoms, what she is experiencing. So she can have vaginal dryness. She can have hot flushes, which is a very well known and well discussed symptom. Then sometimes a female can have night sweats and disturbed sleep. Some female may feel that they suddenly gain weight for no reason. Some female may feel that they are having joint pain, vertebral column pain, or they can experience symptoms like their skin, it is quite thinning nowadays, or they are having wrinkles, or sudden repigmentation is happening in their skin. And along with that, females nowadays, because we are more expressive, we can talk to each other. So the psychological symptoms, they were not discussed quite well earlier, but nowadays people are open up about them quite easily. Not very frequently, but it is a good thing that now women are talking about that. So, and they are the most troublesome things, I can say. So they can experience like lack of concentration, or because at the age of 50 or at the age of 45, nobody stopped working. So if she's having a job and she suddenly feel, okay, my concentration was quite good earlier, but nowadays I cannot concentrate enough. So it is a symptom of menopause. And we see that women are many times misdiagnosed with some other psychological disorders or something, but it is clearly related to menopause. So menopause or menopausal symptoms are the thing which need to be addressed here. Then they can have low mood or quite depressed, or memory issue, anxiety, mood swings, very low self-esteem, depression, irritability. So these kind of psychological symptoms a female can experience. Now, we also see that there is a reason behind, or there is a variety of symptoms, and the range is quite wide. That lot of symptoms we discussed, and it is not like every female is having all these symptoms. And also, if like two females, they are having the same symptoms, but the intensity is different. So what or who decides that how the intensity will be, or how the appearance of these symptoms will be? So according to Ayurveda, every individual have a different body type, and it is genetically predetermined at the time of conception. So, and it is called Prakriti. And there are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So these three doshas. So, but we have Dvidoshaja, means two doshas are involved, and that Prakriti we find quite often. Okay. So the appearance of symptoms and the severity of symptoms will depend upon this personalized body type, which is called Prakriti.
Upasana, can you please explain briefly? I'm not sure if everyone really knows about the doshas, what they are doing in our body, what they're good for. Just briefly, that would be
okay. Yeah, sure. So, if I say very brief, what is Vata? So, every dosha. Ayurveda believe that this body, it is made up with three doshas, dhatu and mala. Okay, we will not discuss about that. But the important thing is doshas. Okay, so vata, pitta and kapha. You can call these doshas, or you can understand these doshas as biological energies or biological forces, I should say. So like vata, it have particular characteristics, and I can relate these characteristics for you. Like vata is related to the nervous system. Okay, so if I explain, so all the nervous system related things, we can explain it with vata dosha, because these doshas, they are again having subtypes. Every dosha has 5 subtypes. So that explains how they are or what they are working in our body. So every movement in our body, and this movement is not like I'm moving my hand. This movement, when a nutrient is going from one cell to other cell, it is also governed by the Vata dosha. So this is driving and this governing force of body, it is Vata dosha. Okay. So, and the Pitta dosha, what is Pitta? Pitta is something related, simply I can say heat. So all the metabolism, it is related to the Pitta dosha. In metabolism, there are two type of things, catabolism and anabolism. So this process, what is happening in our body, this digestive fire, which is making things in our body, it is related to the Pitta dosha. And Kapha dosha is the liquid part, or the all the kind of juices in our body, all the kind of liquid in this body, it is related to the Kapha dosha. So every dosha has different characteristic and different impact. Now the important thing is, in Ayurveda, for these doshas, some characteristics are mentioned. Like in case of Vata dosha, Vata is dry in nature, it is light in nature, it is micro in nature, or it is tiny in nature, it is movable in nature. So these are some examples of characteristic of Vata dosha. So why it is important? You can say what difference it makes, and why I'm listening to these characteristic of dosha. Because when we talk about the imbalance, and when we see the disease, oh, this disease is having imbalance of vata dosha, what will we do to treat that thing? We will do the opposite thing. Like vata is dry in nature, so we will apply oil, or we will apply ghat in that particular disease. So it will be cured. So this is the concept behind having characteristic or knowing characteristic about different doshas. And one more example to this, as there are a lot of disease, there are a lot of disorders, like we all know. So, but today we are talking about menopause. And as I told you, menopause is Vataja condition. So let's give you an example. A person, she is having Vataj and Pittaja Prakriti. Menopause, again, a condition which is having Vataja and Pittaja predominance. Okay. So when she will have symptoms, the severity will be more. But if a person who is having kapha or pitta, or let's say kapha or a vata prakriti, and then is having menopause, her symptoms will be different. And this says a lot about the nature of a person, because nature of disease we know. Nature of disease here is, or nature of the condition here is vata and pitta. So it is good. And Ayurveda also offers and always offers personalized or tailor-made medicine. It is not universal. If I'm sick, I'm having some problem, my medicines will be different from the other person, because my prakriti is different from the other people. So that's how I know doshas are quite complex to understand, but they are having a wonderful world. So if you experience that thing or you understand that thing, you will realize that Ayurveda is really a person-based science. It is not a universal thing. Okay. Now, what I was talking, I will just elaborate that thing. Like a person, like she's coming to me or she's not coming to me, let's say, two female are talking to each other. So they will not talk about vata, pitta or kapha. They will only talk about their symptoms. Okay. So like one female, she's saying, oh, I'm having vaginal dryness, or during menopause, or I'm having loss of my skin tone, the lustre is gone, I am having too much of back pain, and my mood swings are quite frequent, I'm having depression, confusion. So she is having these symptoms. But the other female, she is saying, no, I don't feel these symptoms. I have hot flushes, night sweat, I have anger issues nowadays, I have urinary tract infection frequently. And there are three, let's say. The third one will say, oh my God, my weight, I don't know why it is. I'm gaining so much of weight, and I'm all day, I feel sleepy, I feel depressed, or I'm having recurrent fungal infections. All of them are around menopause. They are having perimenopausal symptoms, but each individual is different from the other based on their doshas involved and their individual prakriti. So that's why knowing about the doshas and knowing about the symptoms, it is important, so that we can provide them a personalized therapy or a personalized uh, solution for their condition. So these are the symptoms when Vata is dominating during menopause. These are the symptoms when Pitta is dominating during the menopause. And these are the symptoms when Kapha is dominated during the menopause. So it is a better explanation why doshas are important. Okay. Now, the important question, is it possible to have a smooth transit into menopause without symptoms? So being an Ayurveda expert, I would say, yes, it is possible to some extent, because being, as we all know, it is a natural aging, and menopause is technically not a disease, it is a transition. So when it is not a disease, there is nothing to be cured. There are symptoms and they need to be addressed properly and then managed properly with the help of Ayurveda. Now, how to prepare for menopause? So we will talk about the Ayurveda concept, how to do preparation. And Ayurveda, the first principle of Ayurveda is, there is a quote in Sanskrit which says, Swasthasya swasthya rakshanam. I know it is swearish, but yeah, that means maintaining the health of healthy ones. Okay. So that literally means prevention. So in Ayurveda, there are a lot of regimes are advised to follow. For example, Dinacharya or the daily regime. Ritucharya means the seasonal regime, which means when you get up in the morning. In Ayurveda, there are mentioned things that you need this thing, then this, then this, then this. Okay, so there is a proper daily routine, there is a proper seasonal routine, and we can understand the science behind that. Like now it is winter, and the way you are dressing up now, you cannot dress up like that in summer. So when you are changing your clothes, then why don't you change your habits according to the season? So this is the basic concept behind this thing. So when a person properly follows all these regimes, then there are less chances that the transition will be disturbed. We can expect that the transition will be smooth because we are following all the regimes. So our doshas, they are in balance. They are not imbalanced. Other than these regimes, in case of women, Ayurveda prescribes more scientific and regimes like Rajaswala Paricharya, or how a female should behave during menstruation. So when a female follow that regime, there will be healthy reproductive health, I should say. So the reproductive health will be good, the hormonal balance will be good. So less chances of getting the hormonal disturbance and symptoms due to that.
And sorry to interrupt, we also covered this topic with a podcast interview where Upasana explained in depth and detail how to behave during menstruation. So you can listen to this as well.
Yeah. So there are 3 transitions we discussed in the second slide. So the first was Menarche. For Menarche, there is Rajaswala Paricharya, means how to behave during menstruation. Then the second transition is reproductive age. So during reproductive age, 2 main events, pregnancy and lactation. And for both of them in Ayurveda, the Garbhini Paricharya means how a pregnant lady should live her life during all 9 months. It is mentioned in Ayurveda. And during lactation period, what she should eat, how she should live, everything is in detail explained in Ayurveda. So all these regimes will keep the hormones in balance and will keep the reproductive organs healthy. So it will automatically help a smooth transition. But the question is like, I just met you guys a few days ago, and you can ask me, okay, I didn't follow Rajaswala Paricharya during my menstruation, and I also didn't follow Garbhini Paricharya and other Paricharya, and I am having in my I am in my premenopause. Now what can I do? Can I have smooth transition even now? The answer is yes, you can have. Because during premenopause, let's say after, in case of normal menopause, if a female start practicing these regimes by the age of 40 or after 40, because if we expect that menopause will happen between 45 to 55, so we still have time. And even during menopause, if a person follow daily regime and seasonal regime and all these things, she can have a better life or a good quality of life. Now, here comes I don't know what time it is, but here comes the most important part.
It's 7:45.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay. So how Ayurveda explains and how Ayurveda offers smooth transition, or what should a female during perimenopause or menopause period should do, or what we can provide her, like how we can help her. So the Ayurveda principle is keeping the doshas in balance. Okay, now we are first we were talking about Rajaswala Pancharya. Okay, she is only 12 or 13 years of age. And we are saying her, okay, from now you follow all these regimes, so you will have smooth transition. But here we are talking about female who are having these symptoms and who are dealing with these symptoms. Okay, so this is a whole lot process. And now we are at the end of, or we are just facing these symptoms. So the first thing, or the first, I would not say remedy, I would say the principle of Ayurveda. So the first principle of Ayurveda is balancing the doshas. So when doshas are balanced, there will be no disorder or there will be no disease according to Ayurveda. And the second point is digestive fire or Agni. Ayurveda believes that everything starts with a gut health. If the digestive fire is good, there will be less chances of getting sick. And if the all the disorder, all the disease, they start with improper digestion. So there is a proper need to focus on this Agni or digestive fire so that it will digest the food properly. When the food is properly digested, there will be no harm or no metabolic toxins will be there in our body. And when the food is digested properly, it will create healthy biological tissues, like we call it in Ayurveda, dhatu. Okay, so the digestion is good, it will create healthy dhatu or healthy biological tissues. It will also remove all the toxins, all the excretory, all the waste product, and it will eliminate them properly. Because if the excretory material or the waste product, it is not eliminated out of the body properly, it will also cause again some sort of disorders, and it will cause dosha imbalance. Okay, so Agni, it is very important and it plays a key role in balancing the dosha. So these are the two principles we are talking about. Now the important part, how we keep the doshas in balance and how we keep our digestive fire in order or proper. So there are three things to do it properly. One is ahara, which is diet. Second is sleep. And third is discipline. So these are also called three important pillars of life: diet, sleep, and discipline. If a person follow these things properly, she will have a very good quality of life. So here in context of menopause, we talk about the diet. So in case of menopause, the diet, it is not only that we are having very nutritious diet, we are having all the good things in our plate. Ayurveda says, along with the nature of food or along with the whatever you are eating, it is really, really very important how you are eating. Okay. So if we are having good things, if we are eating all the healthy stuff, but we are eating in front of television, with our gadgets, with our phones, or with some stress or something like that, we are moving and we are eating. I know but Ayurveda simply don't advocate these things. So according to Ayurveda, there are certain rules how a person should eat her food. So not only the nature of diet is important, but how you consume it, it is also as important. In case of I will also give some short tips. So in case of menopausal female, it is a state of Vata predominance. So never ever eat raw food. You should always eat food which is warm and with some spices added. So it will enhance the digestion and it will improve the digestion. You can have cooked food, you can have grilled food, you can have food in form of soup because it is liquid. It will be easily digested. There will be less burden on your digestive system. So these are the tips you should follow while having the diet. Now the nature of diet. So in case of menopause, I should say that one diet come to my mind is clarified butter or ghat, ghee, because it is called ghat in Ayurveda, or we can say it clarified butter. So it is a thing, or it is a food which is having omega-3 also, it crosses the blood-brain barrier, all these things. But in terms of Ayurveda, it is having the Vata and Pitta balancing properties. So it is having the glistening properties. So the condition like the dryness of skin, wrinkles, and everything, we can address that, those symptoms with simple use of clarified butter. And it is not only balancing the Vata dosha, it is also enhancing the digestive fire. So again, it is a best food, I guess, to have during menopause. Along with that, during menopause, dry fruit or seeds should also be included in your diet. And consumption of milk is also advocated according to Ayurveda. Now, the second point is nidra. I can go on and on with diet, but it will sound like I'm just giving lecture or something. So I just wanted to give emphasis on ghat or the clarified butter and nuts only and milk. Second point is nidra. Very it is very underrated and very less given importance, but it is really, really very important. According to Ayurveda, a person is happy or unhappy, he is well nourished or malnourished, or he's having strength or no strength. It all depends on sleep. So sleep is really very important. So there should be a rule for menopausal female, or I should say for all, that nobody should be awakened after 10. Still I am awake today, but yeah, it is a rare case. So because the diet time, it is basically a time for our body, basically liver and pancreas, they are at rest, they are doing the purification, they are doing all the repair in our body. So it is really very important to have a proper sleep. Then discipline means maintaining a circadian rhythm, and all the daily regimes and all the things come under this heading, because when you have a proper routine to everything in your body is tuned with you. When you have everything in your control and your biological energies, they are channelized in a very proper way and very proper direction. So the doshas will not be imbalanced, or there will be balance of doshas. Then the next treatment or thing is panchakarma or the detox therapies. So specifically for menopause, abhyanga or oil massage, shirodhara, these things, and the basti, the medicated enema, these things are really, really very good for overcoming menopausal symptoms. Then we have use of rasayana. Rasayana are the rejuvenating drugs like amalaki, ashwagandha, shatavari, all these Ayurveda herbs. They replenish the body, they improve the immunity, they regenerate the system. And last but not the least, yoga, pranayam, meditation, and counseling. So there is specific yoga protocol for menopausal female, because during menopausal age group, females should rest. There should be no exertional activities like heavy workout should be avoided strictly. And pranayam or breathing exercises like Shitali pranayam or Anulom Vilom pranayam, they really, really help in combating with symptoms like hot flushes and night sweat, depression, anxiety, and anger issues. And meditation, of course, it helps in all the psychological symptoms. And the most important thing here is counseling and reassurance, which means basically to tell a female that it is normal and you should accept it, you should embrace it, and you should celebrate it. So this is the thing which actually what happens with us, we know sometimes that yes, it is, but it is good to hear from some other person, and you find it quite uplifting your mood and everything. So yeah, it is really very important to educate women about these symptoms. And now, if you can manage these symptoms with the help of these Ayurveda remedies, it is good. But still, if you're having symptoms like in a more severe form, so for Ayurveda treatment, you should consult an Ayurveda expert, because Ayurveda offers a personalized and holistic plan, and it will be different for every other person. It will not be same, and it will be dependent on your body type, your prakriti. Thank you very much.
So thank you for the presentation and the insights. So it's time for questions now. I would like to take some questions. You can just write in the chat whatever you would like to ask Upasana. So it's really your turn.
Can I ask like this? It takes too long to write.
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Thank you so much. That was very, very interesting. I just have one question concerning the what you explained to us about the diet, since the menopause is Vata driven, and you explained that the diet should be also balancing Vata, and if the prakriti of the person is very pitta, for example, then is it okay like to eat more raw food maybe because the natural dosha is more pitta, or is it always that you have to balance vata in the menopause?
No, menopause is a condition which is mainly governed by vata, and what we do when we have two doshas, let's say two doshas we have, one is vata and other can be pitta or kapha, we always go first for the vata. It is an Ayurveda principle that treat vata first, half of your problems will be solved. Because vata is the, like, if a person, I will give you some example. If a person is having hot flushes and when she come to you, you see that she is having symptoms related to pitta, but when you treat vata dosha, you will see that the symptoms are relieved, because vata is having this nature, like this is inside, and the covering is pitta and kapha maybe. So sometimes it is the governing force which is driving this thing. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we have another question. Erika says, she is, you can read, she's 53. She has no symptoms except that menstruation is irregular. She asks, what can I do to stay in this wonderful state?
Yeah, you just enjoy and embrace this state. And yes, you are already 53 and your menstruation is started to be irregular now. So you are in the perimenopausal phase. So when your menstruation is now irregular, then it will stop, and it will stop for 12 consecutive months. Then we will say that, yes, you attain menopause. So there is no need to worry if you are having no symptoms, because let's tell you one thing. Like 33%, it is like one third. One third of female, they are having no symptom at all. One third of females, they are having mild to moderate symptoms, and one third of females, they are having severe symptoms. So there are this wide range of expression of these symptoms. So it is quite okay. Just make sure that you are having good diet, you are having replenishing diet, and you are having proper fluid intake, you are having not at all raw food, have grilled food or warm food instead of that, and have a proper sleep has a very, very important role. So have a good sleep, regular yoga practices, breathing exercise, and meditation. It will help.
Yeah, then I think it's time to end our event. Thank you so much, Upasana, for your insights. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and special thanks to Ursula for having me here today and giving me this opportunity to connect with all you beautiful people here.